Okay, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, The Power of Gamification, the key lessons from the 2025. My name is Mehdi, and I'm your moderator today. I hope that would be work for you. I work as a head of, let me introduce myself. I work as a head of ASO and also the head of growth in Factorial Studio, and I have more than 9 year experience in mobile apps and mobile gaming and user acquisition as well. I also run the consultancy firm that is called asomedi.com, and I'm also the founder of the ASO Global Community, which have more than 2,500 active members from all over the world. And today, the gamification is not just a trend; it's become a real business strategy. We see game styles features like XP, rewards, levels, and progress bar in many non-gaming apps, like in learning apps, fitness apps, finance apps, and social platforms. In fact, this year something big happened. For the first time, non-gaming app made more revenue in app purchases in more than gaming apps. I mean, from the non-gaming apps is gamified app is 21.2 billion and non-gaming have gaming apps is a 19.8 billion. This show how strong gamifications have become. Investors also put more than 20 billion in gamified apps in last few years. So clearly, gamification is a grown fast is and shaping the future of the digital products. Our goal is today is very simple. We want to understand how gamification is changing in 2025, what is working, and how brands and app developers can use it to increase engagement, retention, and monetization. So, I think before we start, the questions I will ask all of these speakers introduce themselves. Please share your name, roles, and what your company does. I think let's start with Akan.
Hello to everyone.
Hey, Akan.
Hello. Thanks for these opportunities and very nice to have this session. Firstly, Mehdi and hi from Turkey and Game from Gamification Federation is a non-profit organization in globally and focus on gamification more than 10 years. I already work on gamification from the scratch at the beginning. And I am very proud of to be part. Maybe you heard in the Europe and US and in very several other countries, there are many events called Gamification World Conference, Gamification Europe, Gamification Fin, Gamifin, Gamicon. These are the events help GameFed and also me organize this kind of events. And yes, for future, we are very excited about especially the AI tools, generative AI tools helps to increase our gamification design quality. And I think the opportunities in 2026, we will talk probably today, using the AI tools for not only the scenarios, also the technologies providing, it will be help to deliver good quality of gamification in the next year. Hopefully, we will talk. I am a lecturer in several universities in Turkey, and I am very proud of this great session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Akan. Thank you so much. And we are really happy to see here. So, next, I will go for Summer. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Maddie. Yeah, this is Summer. I'm from SocialPeta, and we are an ad intelligence platform existed for 10 years. We gather over 2 billion ads on the main platforms like Meta, Google, and we see like the mobile markets from advertising perspective. So I reckon like gamification is a very interesting topic, and I would like to share more insights later. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Summer. I mean, that is quite interesting for us. So, I would ask for Vivek, please introduce yourself, sir.
Thank you, Mandy. Vivek here, guys. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm the founder of Gameramp. Prior to this, used to be an early stage VC investing in gaming for the last 4 years, and before that, used to head product at EA Sports. So have been in the gamification space for about a decade. At Gameramp, we focus on helping mobile apps and games grow. We provide them infrastructure to understand their data better and get better insights. And we also provide financing to grow their user acquisition. Happy to be here and happy to share my insights.
We are also happy to see you here, Vivek. Thank you very much. And finally, Adnan, could you please, sir, introduce yourself, my buddy?
Yeah, thank you so much. Here is Adnan. I am a user acquisition head in the Game Resort. I focus on scaling game through the data-driven marketing, creative strategy, and gamification-driven growth. Over the year of experience, I worked across multiple global markets, helping different titles improve retention, engagement, and monetization. Excited to be here, looking forward to the discussion, and there is a lot to discuss about the gamification here.
Superb,
Thank you.
Adnan. Thank you very much. We are want to hear about from you, Akan, Vivek, Ma'am Summer, and everyone. We just want to eager to some know, get some information regarding the gamification. So I have very quick journal question for everyone. I mean, gamification is no longer is a just buzzword. It's a business model as well. From Duolingo's streaks to Noom progress loops, gamified apps are non-driving massive growth across the EdTech, fitness, and wellness and social entertainment. In Q2 2025, non-gaming apps even surpassed gaming in-app purchases. You can say $21 billion versus $19 billion. So, how would we interrupt this shift? Is gamification become the foundation of the consumer product design, or is it market cycle? What do you think? I mean, we will go for Akan first.
I mean, yes, probably the next year is going to be, for example, is hard to understand in what is gamification. It's more than 10 years, but it's not about gaming. Using the gaming psychology to apply the existing business outcomes. And when it's hard to explain this, actually, I always use Duolingo metaphor because all C levels or startup founders and investors, their son or daughter using Duolingo. So I think thank God that Duolingo is still improving their gamification skills and designs and abilities. Because when I started in 2014 and 15 for gamification learning, my experience was only badges at Duolingo. But right now, there are some leaks, there are these experience points and this hard point system. Amazing. I mean, especially I am also helping many academicians and they are looking for this hard system at Duolingo as a point system, an experience point system. It's a well designed for a positive psychology, not just a result or something like that. So actually in 2026, I think this kind of good qualities and these examples is going to be more wide knowledge and we can design our point system like every startups, every design can realize that it's not just one solution for all, not like 100 points for one badge and two badge for a reward kind of linear design. The gamification needs to be understand the player psychology and the design needs to be flexible for the user motivation, like just Duolingo did. So this is very important for us to using AI tools to research player psychology and offer them right time, right offer. This gamification methodologies going to be more successfully with AI design, I think.
I guess I mean that's superb. I mean for the AI design, yes, I will go for that. But let me know what Vivek think about that.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, when you think about gamification or game-led mechanics, it ultimately boils down to great incentive design, right? And great incentive design exists all the way from raising children, as we were talking before, figuring out what is the right mechanism to incentivize a set of users or people that you interact with? And how do you make sure that you are providing them the right mechanic structure to incentivize the right kind of behavior, which, especially in the case of consumer apps, is to promote engagement, retention, and eventually spend, but at the same time provide deeper value for other ecosystem players, like other players, right? How do you ensure that those mechanics and incentives are structured? That development of that incentive structure is at the heart of gamification, and that really transcends beyond gaming into any form of end-to-end social interactions, right? So I think, broadly speaking, as far as I'm concerned, it really exists and manifests in practically all aspects of life. With the advent of AI, it just become far more easier, and you are able to bring in a lot more nuance, especially from a consumer tech app standpoint. You see application developers being able to have a level of insight they were just previously unable to have access to. And that is really changing the game on how quickly apps are adopting some of these in order to drive outcomes for their users and drive up their business metrics, which can be done very effectively through gamification.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Adnan, what do you think? I mean, how you get to user acquisition, and how do you see this thing when you do start a campaign, or maybe for the soft launch, or maybe hard launch? But what do you think about this thing? Is it a gaming cycle, or maybe something else?
In nowadays, it's really hard to user acquisition is not that simple as that we used to see in the past year, especially in the Pakistan. Uh, Currently, when we talk about the user acquisition, our goal is not only to make the game fun; it's to make the game more marketable, more retentive, and more profitable. So the main element that I used to implement in our game, that is from the start, like I used to target how can I increase the CTR of my creatives, and secondly, how can I reduce my CPI in all the games. Apart from dealing with these two parameters, it is really impossible to scale the game until unless I have a high day one and day seven retention and high ROAS. So the gamification helps me in powering the title. Like I used to apply the gamification strength to increase the retention, engagement, and monetization. My first focus is always on the day one experience. I used to monitor the user in the first 30, first 1 minute and first 1 to 3 minutes. That is the main part where the user either engage to your game or leave the game. So I will focus on that part, and this helped me to increase my day one retention from 12 to 18%. This is the and in the session length, we saw the increase in 15 to 25%. That is huge. And that's why I'm able to scale my some of the titles. Secondly, when we talk about the gamification, it's really, I guess I would say that it's not that easy. We used to add missions, that mission that user can see, and the streaks. Like user, if I want to engage the user in the longer term, then I have added some streak level, like user either play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 level and they got a streak. If they fail, I used to show the rewarded ad scenarios so that the user can continue with that. And this is the one part. And on the third side, used to track the user progression. That is the really main part in the user acquisition. Like I have added clear UI indication that user is getting the progress. By adding this, like clearing UI progress to show the user, I have seen 10 to 20% increase in the day seven retention. That is huge. That increased my LTV and also give me the point where I can scale more titles. And in the end, I there are some feature I have learned from the Duolingo and other major platform, other major apps. That's why I guess that's why they are growing. They use some gacha like mystery rewards. They return the mystery reward user are eager to earn daily spins and some sort of hidden objective like user want to experience what is in it. So this also helped me to improve my longer retention and playtime. So in finally in today's life, I can say that this all helped me to increase 20 to 25% ARPDAU increase, and which able me to scale more time, scale my titles on the other growth. So in the end, I would like to say if we really want to scale our game, then we have to focus on the gamification from the start. And when we're building a project, it's really, really important that we implement all these aspects in our games. Some of apps are like Starva, I have seen they have created a mission, and if you run, then you can share your progress on with other people as well. So why people are using this, and this is 15-year-old application and currently this is getting a very good result. Why is this so? This is only because they use the trigger like user run faster to show your progress with the other friends. That's the trigger. We need to implement such trigger in our games if we really want to scale our titles. That is not like a previous gaming experience we have in our country, especially in Pakistan. We need to implement more rewarding scenarios, more user engagement scenarios, and the gameplay must justify the main feature, which is, I guess, as I can said that we need to learn a bit more about psychology, like why I'm saying that because due to psychology we will learn what are the main points where the user is happy or sad. Like when we give some extra reward to the user, there is internal mind wiring like when we get the reward internally satisfaction, we feel internally satisfaction, which is in the bio term we call it dopamine. When we release such when we give a user some rewards and scenarios and give user a growth, like user if playing a user for the 7 days, we are giving the proper progress bar and proper thing that release the dopamine and users stay longer to their game. That's how we can scale our game, and that's how we the new trend we can go with it.
Thank you so much, Adnan. I mean, you were just telling about we are going to target the low CPI and also improving that would be absolutely help out to improve our LTV. But
Yeah.
when we just talk about for the CPI, so we have, we should have to know we have a very good creative, and where we are talking about the creative, we should have creative expert. So right now we are very lucky. Summer is here. So Summer, what do you think about that? You are super
Well,
expert in this thing. So please.
I think Mr. Eden's insights, I totally agree with him. I totally agree with him. Let's say, like from the report, we see like gamification is definitely a phenomenon, and the boundaries between the game and advertising are not clear anymore. You need to be successful at markets, and you have the proof that your product may be popular. And on the other side, if you have a good and entertaining product, you can use that part in your ad creatives, and you can have a
Mhm.
lower CPI to get your your installations. So gamification is a necessary way for both in creative and also your game design. And he also talked about like a philosophy something. This is like a totally like the core and the
Mhm.
instance of gamification. So that's like
Mhm.
my thinking on creative parts. And if let me share my experience as a pure user, what it can remind me is the app Keep. Yeah, because this is like a fitness app, and I think they basically invented like the virtual medal mechanism like 10 years ago. And they know that if you go exercise, you may be painful. And they use like the medal you can boast about to some other runners or like people go exercising. So I can understand why this is necessary for some users. And for Keep, these products at the very beginning, most of their like revenue come from subscriptions. But after the launch of this like medal system, I think like the medal revenue brings even more like revenue than the ones they have on like the previous subscription plans purely. So you can see like gamification is definitely will be the foundation of product design and will not just short-term thing. Yeah.
Superb. I mean, very insightful for me. But don't worry, I have another question for you. I will trap you in that one. So, I have very specific question for the Arkan. Please, sir, as the author of the first gaming, for the Turkish gamification book and the lecturer in the Bashir University, you have likely seen a wide range of gamification projects. Some have very beautiful, well-designed interface, but fail to engage user, while other have very simpler, even ugly design managed to be a highly addictive. Based on your experience, sir, what makes the difference? Could you share any case studies, any example that illustrate why certain gamification projects succeed in the engaging user and others have don't?
Thank you, Mehdi. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I've been many several projects as a consultant too. It has some of them is a European Union project, some of them is a Turkish government project too, like a million users, and most of them is like a companies or startups focus on thousands or hundreds people to engage. There is no secret sauce, but what I can say. Firstly, if you focus on player look design, let me say it this way, like I like this badge, or probably they will like this wheel to use, or they will like this points because it's very easy to win. If you think like a player thinks, it's mostly fail. You have to be understand actually not is it your ideas for everyone. When you think like it's a success or is a polished design, it can be even noise we call in gamification design. Separate the focus to the other things, like not only the badges or points, what is the meaning of it. For example, probably you heard about Octalysis design created by the Yu Kai Cho. It always starts with the emotion. Emotion is important. The gamification design, like a game design, look about the games too. If you design very well and people love it, it's because of the emotions, not because of the well design. So if you can design well for this kind of user interface, if it's not enjoyable, if it's not touching some emotions like a feeling or scarcity, or not only the positive things, Mehdi, we need to balance with the negative feelings too. Yukai always says that, he called that black hat gamification. Yes, if you look all successfully gamification designs, you can see very positive and polished designs supporting with negative emotions like scarcity, deadlines, avoidance, unpredictability, surprising, these kind of things, we need to be support to the positive feelings like accomplish, win, profile. These are the positive things. So this is the secret things, I think. When we start with the design with a startup, for example, they always think about winning. They always think about the positive things. And after 10 badges or after million points, there are going to mean things. It's going to be a target, and it's going to be need as a some losing process. And people will, we just talk about, and Adnan also mentioned about that too. People need to see the target and need to be give some feedback. And feedback is not only the positive, also can be negative. You are going to lose it. It is just very close. It's almost win. Maybe you read Nicole Lazaro books, Four Keys to Fun. There's an Italian word like a fiore. There's no Turkish word for that. There's no English word for that too. I don't know in Pakistan or other language that it's almost win. You know, you feel like you are going to win, but you lose. They call it if you feel like this, and if you win, they call it in Italian fiore. Nicole Lazaro, she said that in her book. I love that. This is the secret of this negative feelings like you are winning like a positive, but then negative than the positive is always work, Mehdi. Hopefully it will be work for you too. Even in our language, there's no one word for that. But the fiore feelings, I almost lose, but I win. I think the success of the gamification design.
Yes, I guess that's why the fitness and also social apps have got very great numbers in this year. Add some emotions, polish their design, add some kind of target, and add some kind of doing some experience. If you get, for example, there are two kind of. I mean, I agree with you, Akan. I have two gym applications. One have nothing but just do some reps, do some bicep, do some chest, and these kind of things. And one have something, some kind of gamification things. For example, the person say if you got 10 reps in 1 minute, you will got this reward. Am I right, Erkan? And the user will also engage in that part of application. That's why they have got some kind of very good in apps also. So thank you, Erkan, very much for this kind of insights. That is not, I think, experience. That is a secret for us. So and thank you for this. I mean, Vivek, in these days, we are hearing that non gaming apps are now competing directly with the games of users. Times, attention, driven lightly above the rapid of the size, and also gamification across the consumer apps. Since gamer apps work closely with both gaming and non gaming studios, how do you view this phenomenon and drawing from your scoring models? And how would market respond?
Yeah, I think over a period of time, what we observed is that our customer base, especially our customer base, is primarily developers, and it has shifted heavily towards the non-gaming side of applications. And I think it's a quite an interesting phenomena. Probably comes as a bit of a disappointment to a lot of pure play gaming folks. But I think the underlying message for me is that the attention span of consumers is super limited, and that attention is being split in multiple sort of like these small pockets of energy, right? Like their core social media applications already take a substantial chunk of their time. And effectively, from a motivation standpoint, it seems to be the case that they are all competing in a spectrum of user motivations in order to engage their customer base, right? So for example, we do see micro drama applications heavily compete against simulation games, right? Like now, why does that happen? That happens because microdrama and short form videos really allow for immersion, experiencing immersion, being able to distance yourself from your reality and being able to immerse in someone else's story is exactly the kind of motivation that a simulation game would have offered to you 4 or 5 years ago. And what these non-gaming apps have been successful in doing in the last 3 4 years is being able to crash down the cognitive load that is required for an individual user to enjoy their experience, right? So I would probably just take a second to like just scan through what sort of like motivation sort of span across a user's journey, right? So for example, like the cases that Adnan was talking about in terms of gym applications, they are really driven towards personal achievement and in product achievement. You are essentially challenging yourself or competing against someone. Now, that motivation can happen in a shooter game, but it also very well could happen when it's targeted against your intrinsic motivation, which is in order to improve yourself. You do see that not only in physical activities, but you also see that in more cognitive activities. For example, you see puzzle games and puzzle based products really succeed well because you see older people trying to retain their cognitive edge in doing things like that, right? Similarly, on the more competitive front, you see people competing on motivations like status and rank. They want to top that leaderboard, right? They want to be affiliated with the topmost guild and the topmost clan. And at the
Mm-hmm.
other end of the spectrum, you have people who are like really trying to achieve and optimize for rewards. So broadly speaking, a lot of these tactics that games were using previously to target players were primarily focused around these motivations. And what is currently happening is many of these apps have been able to focus on these individual player motivations, like I said, which is rewards, immersion, personal achievement, cognitive immersion, and being able to build like low friction experiences around it. And that manifests in
Mm-hmm.
benefits across the app's journey, right? All the way, just like Adnan was talking about the user acquisition side, like being able to tell a compelling story in an ad creative helps you drive your CTR. Once you drive your CTR, your user comes on to your application. How do you define your first time user experience so that you're able to make them feel at home? And then how do you put them in a sense of progression where they start from doing something and then slowly level up in order to feel like being part of a community? Those are things that are no longer exclusive to games, and that's now manifesting across all sorts of apps, right? All the way from even news reading applications to gym applications, especially so in broader entertainment categories like microdrama. And I'm sure Summer, you have a deeper view on how some of this has exploded, especially in markets like India and China. Microdramas have just taken off vertically, right? And it's the
Yeah.
clearest
Yeah.
manifestation of that happening.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Like a short drama or micro drama apps are naturally very good media and they take all the extreme experience, all the good feelings or like a bad feelings make you like feel like a bittersweet, something, make
Yeah.
you really care about it. You cannot get rid of it. Totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah.
Superb. I mean, I'm 100% agree with you, Vik, and also thank you very much. So I have question for you, Summer. As the
Yep.
gamification becomes more common across non-gaming apps, what pattern are you seeing in how non-gaming apps adopt gamification in real practices? And what are the best performing creative strategy when a non-gaming product successfully borrowed game-like elements and driving high retention without using? I mean, the one point is adding from my side. If we are not go for the misleading, I mean, what kind of pattern you are actually seeing?
Well, yeah, like I think like the patterns, Mr. Vivek basically mentioned a lot of the various like formats. You can see like the points and also like the medals I mentioned, and I also see that you can merge playing a mini game with like checking system on Duolingo. And the apps we see that use a lot of like gamification apps recently are some utility and health apps or social network. So those are some main categories we notice. And let's see, because SocialPeta have like the data on ad creatives in recent 10 years, and we can see that there is a trend on different ad creative formats. From the advertising aspects, I need to say that, for example, I can see a lot of like a plural ads because this is a little bit less known facts. When we talk about plural ads, you may like naturally reckon, okay, it's a good format for gaming. Yeah, like a simulation game, a casual game, they use plural ads a lot. But from our system, we can see from the very beginning that there is playable. Some non-gaming apps, they use playable ads, and it can help them to make the boring creative to be entertainment and can be interact with the viewers. They can, play it like a tap or swipe. Some simple swipe can make the ads more like interesting. So this is something that SocialPeta can notice. And also, like speaking of like the very winning products and winning creatives, uh, I think I can directly share the case. I can directly share a case because I prepare like one case called Pengu. This is like social networking app, and like the scenario is it allow user to raising a pets with someone else you don't know. It's very interesting because you can customize the outfits, and you can like raise it, you can raise it, and you can also earning the coins by achieving your daily task. And we can also see they have implement those like a simulation game elements in their ad creatives. For example, like this one. Yeah, you can see so many like casual game like mechanism in a non-gaming non-gaming ad creatives, and from this case we see like those strategy have already widely used in non-gaming application user acquisition, and for this case for this app specifically we can see that this one is already a very popular social app in United States. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Summer, and also share the case study with us. I mean, that is quite interesting for us and the audience which are right now online with us. Please ask the question in chat room, and if you have any kind of relevant question of this webinar, please I will ask at the end of the webinar. So, and there is something for you, Akan. I mean, the person whose name is Numan, he just also add in your words. Their Healthify Me is another app's example of the progresses as well. So the last question is for Adnan. Where is that? Yes, I just got. When we talk about gamification, we inevitably, I mean, return to the game itself. Gamification is deeply embedded in code gameplay, from tutorials and daily missions, achievement streams, gacha missions, and season passes, all of which drive stronger retention and monetization based on your extensive user experience and user acquisition experience in the gaming industry. What are your recommendations for the implementing gamification effectively? And could you share some best practices, for example, of the work of the particular as well?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for asking. I would, first of all, we need to know before starting the answer. I would love to draw some little base so that everyone can understand what is going on. Like we are currently living in the aura of AI. So if we really want to target our user in user acquisition point and want to implement the gamification in the best possible way, we in the first we need to learn our user in the best possible way. Like we need to learn what the actually user demand. Is the user ready to play the longer term game, like the long session length? User have much time to play that game, or user want a really short interval and it want quick rewards and quick engagement time. So the best way to learn that we implement in the gamification and we got the result that are the learning of our user. So we work harder to learn the user journey. We make it smoother. We make the level progression so planned according to the user, where the user love the game and engage to the game. That's how we are making the progress, and that's how we are able to increase our user spending and the improve our title. One thing that I have seen in the Duolingo, that is the not only the learning app, it's also provide the progression ladder and the streak and the XP. And the other app I've studied is that Starva that transform running into a social competition. Noom uses micro wins to drive consistent movement. And most of us using the Starbucks, and Starbucks reward turn buying coffee into status cheese. Like if you buy a coffee and you can get a gacha reward, like you can get a free coffee. Okay. And gamification when it tap into the core human drives, achievement, competence, social validation, and habit formation. Our first goal being a user acquisition. My first goal is to make a game like that engage the user in first 3 minutes. Like I will reward, like I have seen in many games, the people give the reward to the user on the level one. So what is that? They are engaging the user, and when the user engage with your game, it's become its habit. Like we use normally we use Snapchat, and everyone where we maintain a streak with one another. So what's that? The pattern of the Snapchat is that user daily come to the app, use the streak, and maintain your social circle. So in the gaming, we need to implement such thing in the gaming as well. If apps are going up uh, due to the, I guess that's my opinion. Like if apps are currently in the revenue, apps are on the tops. This the main reason is that gaming gaming field does not actually adopting the gamification process. They are somehow behind the apps. Apps have as I told you, the Duolingo, Starbucks, Nom, Starbucks, and many other apps that adopted the gamification that are far behind the games. Like they have crossed the gaming revenue. In the past, the gaming revenue was really good, but now we are seeing that the gaming revenue is down and the apps revenue is going up. That's the first time I have seen in my experience. And I think that's my research and what I want to share with you guys, that this is the time of Gen Z and Gen Alpha. They grow up with a progress bar, XP system, skins, quest, streaks, and their native language is definitely interactive, personalized, measurable, and just a little more competitive. competitive. They, to them, streak is just a feature. It's a flex. A badge is just a reward, it's an identity. A level is just a progress, it's a social currency. So, as we can see, that some of the top games like Minecraft, Roblox, Fortnite, and other apps like Discord and TikTok challenges, they feel like a game, which is very good. They are retaining the user. Roblox retaining the user. Minecraft retaining the user. Fortnite have its own audience. They are retaining the user only because they reward the user. They engage the user in a better possible way. If you really want to scale our title, then we have to adopt gamification. And so the question is no longer, should we use gamification? No, the real question must be, which part of our product is not gamified yet? And what is the cost of it? That's the point. We should work on that. Thank you.
Okay, I guess. Thank you. Thank you very much, Adnan, from your side. It's quite interesting for us. And I mean, the final question is for everyone. Looking ahead to the next few years, what do you think will be the next big innovation in gamification? Are there new mechanics, technologies, approaches that could define how user engage, retain, or monetize across the gaming and non-gaming apps? I guess we can. The first one is should be Sir Harkan. Please go ahead, and we need your views.
Yeah, for I think very good decisions. I mean, AI is going to be effect, and maybe you see Duacon. Maybe you heard about Duolingo Summit. It happens last month, and it shows that the daily streak it's actually create a great attention, but not create a learning. Maybe you see some sharing about Duolingo streak, like more than 3,000 streak. There's a guy, Spanish streak he has, but when he arrived to Spain, he could not able to order a food. That's an interesting story, and you can Google it about Duacon. And the Luis Juan, founder of the Duolingo, he said, "I accept that. I mean, the streak on the Duolingo, it created great attention for the app, not delete it or daily visits, but it's not affect directly to the learning. So it's not a solution. So I'm actually right now reading a book. Let me show you. It's a very new book, and we need to talk about this kind of things too. This is a Roman Rackwitz. Probably everyone knows in the domain. He's one of the
Mm-hmm.
founders of GamFed, and he just published a Drive Method. It's a 2025 book, and the book actually I'm just reading in the middle of it. First of all, there is need to be understand real behavior and the app in behavior. I think that the Duolingo's problem is the same too. For example, Strake is a maybe great solution for SocialPeta for open the app or changing the avatar, something like that. These are the app in behavior, and it can be, for example, selling stuff or for e-commerce. It's great, but for a learning or decrease the weight or update your steps, of real behavior needs to focus more behavior, and at the beginning you need to understand the different kind of behaviors and abilities. This is coming again the psychology part. And also in drive method, Roman says that there's a matrix we call, you cannot gamify everything. Maybe we start with the wrong, and he put some gamification matrix. You can search and look about that too. And he put, for example, trivia kind of things. For example, it's a gamification, but for a short term. You cannot do trivia like a 6 months or 1 year. It's just
Mm-hmm.
a or just the daily things. Simulations, for example, you cannot simulation every day something. You just using that for a short term, but with the playing for a simulation. And he put gamification for a real behavior for the existing world after the applications. So he says that four of my project, only one was the real gamification part. The other part was trivia questions, and two of was the simulations, like a game-based learning. So it's very understandable. Like we may be forcing something, it's not easy to gamify in the real life. So we start with the app in behavior. We convince them, they need some journeys, and with the feedback, when they're ready, they will do some real life changing data too. So I think these years is going to be also Roman gave many good examples. There are many custom GPT tools to create a good scenarios, good stories for a gamification design, good rewards. Sometimes some rewards, guys, better than monies for customers, for kids, right? So I think we are missing point that too. We always focus on extrinsic rewards, extrinsic journeys, and we losing the main point of intrinsic journeys and the real behaviors. So I think AI going to be help us on that too. And every gamification project probably use AI for scenarios, also technologies, and it's going to be a very good quality, very creativity and very good solution to deliver to customers and employees in gamification with AI tools.
Superb. I mean, quality improvement, and also, I mean, add some interesting trivia in the game. Yes, I agree with you, man. So, what do you think, Vivek?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to take a counter position um, on the aggressive attempts to do rewards and gamification, because generally speaking, what we see is a lot of games and app developers really want to do gamification, and what they end up doing is they try to shove on so many different features, rewards, external currency systems, mechanisms, which end up hurting them in the long run, because effectively, each game and app also works like an economy, right? Like I was discussing before, each of these applications and mechanisms are around incentive design. So what happens when you start giving excessive rewards to a set of users when there is not enough utility for it? What happens is just like when inflation happens, right? Somebody has excess amounts of currency, their value perception of that currency decreases, and it ends up
Mm-hmm.
hurting you in terms of long-term revenue that you could have received from the user. So it is super, super important, especially as we look forward to 2026, in being able to very clearly articulate why are you doing a new form of incentive structure for your user base in such a way that it doesn't hurt your revenue and LTV prospects. I think that is going to be the important thing, especially considering our audience here. The important thing is to figure out to really start from first principles, right? Start with your existing users data. The important aspect to realize is that as you think about what motivations work for users, your entirety of user base is not going to be the same. A very small portion of your users are going to be a long-term committed users whose motivations are going to be substantially different from your new users who you acquired in the latest new campaigns. And you need to be able to segment your user base according to their relevance and their stage motivation within the game. Especially in the day that we are currently sitting in, you do have access to an incredible set of technologies. Especially, for example, at Gameramp, we have built an infrastructure which allows for you to connect to your data infrastructure and then allow you to create those personas and identify which user bases and which user segments match to what corresponding persona. If you're able to start by first analyzing and understanding what the existing economy patterns of the users are, what currencies are they using, what features are they
Mm-hmm.
currently adopting, what is your feature level adoption, what currencies are they willing to pay for, without
Mm-hmm.
understanding that if you start implementing features, it is going to affect you in the long run immediately, right? So my very short advice would be start with being able to articulate that motivation personas at the beginning, define the specific pain points, and then make sure that you are limiting your rewards and experiments and then slowly rolling it out to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
you do not end up having a bad experience. I'm more than happy
Mm-hmm.
to chat about this separately to show some how some of the larger studios are doing this, because especially if you look at the likes of Duolingo and Zynga, they are
Mm-hmm.
so heavily driven by experimentation. They do not come up with a consumer insight and just directly go ahead and implement it, right? They r- test it with a high degree of statistical rigor, test it with a small sample, make sure that experience scales across to different segments and cohorts before making it a permanent change, right? So I think that discipline in being able to go from a hypothesis to launching an experiment and then taking that experiment to scale is where all of the difference of the outcome is going to happen.
You are actually covering balancing the economy.
Yes, I think balancing the
Yes.
economy is 100%
The
the
people, I mean, I just talked a lot of time. Do not give massive reward and do not give the blow off the belt. I mean, we should have to give, we should have to balance this thing. We should have to balance. So I'm 100% with you. In this case, we should have to balancing the economy as well, and also the gameplay and the gamification on the also the application. And there is, and I am also know there is a lots of A/B testing behind the behind this scenario. How much user will just want to pay. So I agree with you. So what do you think, Adnan? I mean, w- how do you see this question?
Yeah, Mandy, definitely. First of all, I would must say that Vivek has pointed the very good point that is balancing the economy. Like we do not do the bombardment of the rewards, and we do not hesitate to give it the user, but we need to create a balance for that. And what would I see like the gamification in the modern era? As I told you earlier, this is the aura of AI. So the next evaluation will be on the AI, and that's the main part. How we will add this in our games. The next big evaluation of gamification will be AI-driven personalization. Like we do not consider that one use case will be fit for the user from the US, and the same use case will be fit for the user in the Turkey and the India and the Pakistan. So we need to understand our user. Instead of giving them the same mission or reward system, we will adopt a real-time changes, shaping difficulty, goals, incentive, and around each individual, not overall the user. This is the shift happening. This is due to the Gen Z and Gen Alpha. They expect experience that feel tailor made for them, not the change made for someone else in the US and I am playing here in the Pakistan. So
Mm-hmm.
they feel tailored made changes. They are grown up with the word like Microsoft, Roblox, and Fortnite. So where creation, customization, and constant progression are the norms. So we need to create such product that actually provide them the detail, not like that the Minecraft, Roblox, Fortnite, but similar to them. The socialize on the Discord express themselves through the fast gamified loops like TikTok challenge. We need everything new related to our mode. Now the devices are more capable. Now we can understand the user behavior really well. So we need to implement through the AI, we need to implement such segment in our games that can understand the need of the user. So according to the user, modify itself. That's the point.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Summer. We need something juicy and something fruity from your side. Please give us
Yeah,
what do you think about this question?
Thanks, Maddie. And this is a good question. To be honest, I'm not like a technical background, and I don't think I'm, super smart to predict any new mechanism because we are already around of all kind of apps that give you instant feedbacks. This is, insane already. So the trend won't change. I reckon that in the recent years, like everything you see may be combined with gamification. And like I mentioned, you can barely tell the boundaries properly. And for example, every products you see and they use this. And as far as we see, like the developers of social medias, like the short drama video apps, like those like market per managers may use like the game design system and they call it DDA. This is a new word I recently learned from a speech. It's called like a dynamic difficult adjustment. And
Adjustment.
this is like an algorithm to design their products. They use like the gaming design system and naturally in all the apps we see. So you can see after that, like still more people it will make people like more addicted to the products and the people spending time unconsciously. And you can also see like all the rewarding mechanism could be popular because it can effectively improve the engagement and the retention. Yeah, so to sum up, I still reckon this phenomenon is will continue and also like combine with every circles of like the whole chain.
Thank you, Summer. You actually covered everything is very good, and that is quite interesting for me. Now it's favorite part of the whole webinar. I was eagerly waiting for this one. The questions is coming from the audience, and let's see. I mean, what kind of question they are actually putting in the chats. But let me tell you first, all of the audience, thank you very much. Be a part of our webinar, which is actually organized by the SocialPeta. And the question will not be right now acceptable, which is not related to this topic. So, but if the panelists want to answer them, that is quite thank you for them in advance, and we are really thanks for everyone, also for the panelists and also the audience. I have question from the Noman side. Adnan, is there any KPI standard for the in impressions daily active user where we can see the positive ROS return on ad spend in minimum value? And also, Adnan, Playable ads versus video ad. Which ones perform best in UA? Please.
Thank you for asking, Numan. Uh, First thing you need to learn about that, if I would say that the positive ROS, what it does mean that it's returning the like what you are spending, it will return to you. But in most of the games, I have worked in some bigger unit. When we target the scaling, then we see the number impression per daily active user a bit lower, so that a user retain longer to the game, and we will continue gathering the daily active user. So when we our goal is the long term, then the actual number impression per daily active user will be a lesser, but it depends upon the gameplay. When impression goes down, then your retention and the other KPIs must be very strong to retain the user. If the retention is down and the impression is also down, then you cannot plan for a longer term. So for the basic number, I would say that for the hyper casual, I have scaled some of the game with the two interstitial per user, but the retention was 35. So we can say interrelate that not only the impression, but it also mattered. What mattered is the retention as well. On the other hand, and in the simulation game, I have scaled many games in 4 to 5 interstitial per active user and having a retention more than 25%. So it's based on the game. So you adopt according to your need. If you're in hyper casual game and your retention KPIs are good, then you are okay with the two interstitial per user. And if you are like a simulation game, then you are okay with 4 to 5, but it depends also on the game and the CPI as well to be
Thank
positive.
you.
And the
Yes, yes,
second
continue.
one,
Sorry, Adnan. I was thought you just complete it. Please go ahead.
no, that was a different question. Playable ads versus video ad. Playable are the need of the time. If you are not adding the playable into your campaigns, the campaigns won't work better. This is the need of the hour. And the videos, as the Summer said, the video must be related to your game and must be engaging. Better the video is, the better lower the CPI will you get. So work on that as well. Both cannot work alone. Like only playable ads will not work for you, only videos will not work for you. The best combination of both will work for you. That's work for us as well. Thank you. Hope the
Thank you.
answer.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Adnan. There's a question coming from Muhammad. I mean, the Tree Ross campaign is suddenly stopped. Who is actually tagging? He is tagging me. Sorry, Muhammad, I'm not gonna take this question right here. This is non-relevant topic. You can ask this question in my ASO Global community if you are part of them. If not, you can directly message me or email me. I will answer very detailed, and also I will let you know what kind of steps you will take. I am available for you. Don't worry about, and don't take it wrong from my side. Pete, this is actually feedback for the Arkan. Nicely said, Arkan. The emotions in player journeys are so important to the design. So hats off for the Arkan and kudos for him. Numan, Healthy Me is also example for this progress. This is also for the Arkan. And I think there a lot of fan of Arkan are here. So and there is the questions from coming from Vokas. Which kind of gamification apps we work on Korea, Japan, China, and how we make it successful, entertaining in, especially gaining high CTR, retention, LTV in ROI. What about 2026? In is the year of the gamification is yes, how we can win the market, any techniques we can use for it. Please, anyone can answer this. If Vivek will help us, so I will go for that, and then our Akan.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll probably take a stab at the Western Asia versus the rest of the world analogy there. So specifically, when you think about markets like, first of all, I don't think it's a reasonable position to club China, Korea, and Japan into one market. Each one of them are very deep micro markets with its own sort of sense of what sort of mechanics work, what mechanics really appeal to others. But what I can tell you is that it's definitely substantially different from what a lot of the Western audience sort of end up preferring, right? Especially when you think about gamification features itself that work well across these markets. For example, if you look at super apps in China, they are extremely information dense. There are high amount of information output that is sort of like consistent throughout, and you would see layered gacha mechanisms that work very commonly across. But for example, if you contrast that against the kind of mechanics that work on the West, you are more likely going to see simple, more linear, straightforward, easy to understand, lesser amount of UI and UX elements generally being sort of like appreciated. So my suggestion as far as trying to get a better sense on the Asian markets is a try to pick it market by market. You would see excellent deconstructions on for example, especially in Japan with music related apps, you would see like an entire subgenre of gamification mechanics sort of that have like built around to sort of like build that deeper engagement, right? So
Mm-hmm.
definitely it is more to do with building deeper player immersion, building more complex progression mechanics which allow for players to have a longer term engagement. Generally speaking, higher amount of complexity is definitely what works, and definitely do not try to copy what works for a Western audience and hope that
Mm-hmm.
it works for the Asian markets purely by language localization. It just simply just doesn't work. I'm sure
I was
some
about to say,
on.
sorry, Vivek, I am interrupting you. I was about to say that there is a huge difference between Western market and also these specific regions, which is asked from the Vikas. Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, and I'm sure Summer and Alina would have seen like lot of these specific implementations, and you would see this manifesting even on the ad creators, right? So my suggestion would be, if you want to get a deeper understanding of the market, A, start using some of those applications, and then B, start looking at what are the some of the key ad creatives and the kind of advertising messaging that is being primarily used in order to address to that audience, right? You would already
Yeah,
see
Mm-hmm.
like a high
yeah,
degree of information density that is sort of like
yeah.
going out to the audience. You'd see like immersion, investing in player characters, etc., having like that. For example, the Pengu example that Samuro is showing is extremely telling, right? What's the likelihood that will work in, for example, in a market like Germany? Unlikely, but I can definitely see a lot more appeal in the Asian markets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah,
Thank you.
like you mentioned, like the Western and the Asian, we run different like styles of creatives. Even let's say, you like you suggested that you should pick up like Japan, China, and Korea individually. I also totally agree because like a Chinese style also different from like the Japan ones and also Korea ones. Like the Japan, you can see that they may use some very exaggerate like impression of those
Mm-hmm.
actors, and the Korean, whenever they shooting something in the musical or like the creative as, like you can feel like the sense of romantic. You can feel it, no matter it's like a love story or not, but all the qualifications of the thing is very good. Speaking of China, if let's say like the other creatives, we will combine the thing also with like the sounds and the thing normally really dramatic. They tell you like a very dramatic, twisted story, maybe not that related with your apps or games, but you use that skill, it runs very good in China. So
Mm-hmm.
you can see like things are a little bit different.
What do you think about that, Candice?
You mean me or
No,
like
I'm just take a view on Erkan. If you just want to share.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree for summer too. I mean, the potential of this tools is depends of the question. It's very different, and 2026, I think, going to be probably personalization with the AI, because I am like being in the more than 100 projects, and we are all using the same design techniques to do everyone. we use the player types and user types and try to be expand the design quality for the different player types. But AI help us to make it which we don't actually think, and it can be created in instant scenarios, instant offer, instant time, without asking us as a designer to approach the player. So
Mm-hmm.
I work also Gametize. Maybe you heard the Singapore-based
Singapore.
company, and they are great guys. And they use AI for scenarios. I mean, the gamification scenarios. For example, someone shows some avatars, and probably avatar needs some stories like where it burned, which music they like, which kind of clothes
Mm.
wearing, but they use AI for it, because if we put inside of it, actually we not using the exact same things the player request, and it can be read player profiles, for example, likes, engage from the social media or computer, and it can create the stories for Summer different, for Adnan different, for Vivek different. So this is the AI tools using this kind of portals, the personalization, and more smart gamification, let's say this way, exact time, and very unique solutions for the people for a good solution, let me say this way.
Mm-hmm. Superb. Thank you, Arkan. I have another question from the Anika Games now, Jazz. How do you structure a gamification funnel so reward reinforcement reinforce behavioral progression rather than just a session frequency? When designing an end-to-end gamified user journey using Duolingo as reference, do you see stronger retention outcome from persona specific reward loops or from a single universal system that adapts over time? And how do you measure when gamification starts helping versus hurting retention? I think this is question specifically for the Vivek.
Can you repeat that last part, Mehdi, a little bit?
Okay, I'm gonna repeat the last paragraph. When designing end-to-end gamified user journey using Duolingo as a reference, do you see stronger retentions, outcome from persona-specific rewarded loops, or from a single universe system that adapts over time? And how do you measure
Yeah.
when gamification start helping versus hurting retention?
That's an excellent question, and I think and super relevant to our theme of the topic of discussion today. But essentially, I would frame it as this way, right? The most important lens to look at is that not all of your users come in with the same set of intrinsic or extrinsic motivation, and their depth of engagement and consumption within your game is going to be radically different. And especially this is true for games and even cases like Duolingo, right? You have 1 to 2% of users who end up being superpower users whose engagement is 20, 30 times more than your median user, and that is expected behavior. What that means is that any universal reward system, which is meant to drive up overall user level engagement, ends up being a suboptimal solution to every single sort of like user segment within your game. What is appealing to your median user is not going to appeal to your power user. So,
Mm-hmm.
rationally, it makes a lot of sense to get to the conclusion that if you're able to do persona based rewards, it is definitely going to increase the likelihood of player segments reacting slightly better. And in the longer term, if you're able to do that segmentation very well, you would very well be on your path to being able to drive retention. But at the same time, you are still having to deal with the issue of not having a congruous reward system across the player community. For example, you are running daily login rewards which are segmented across different users. Users do not want to be discriminated against, right? So there is
Mm-hmm.
that balancing act that you have to do as a developer to make sure that a you are not doing price and value discrimination between users, but at the same time being able to make sure that there is enough amount of incentive for the different segments. And there are teams which are able to do this very effectively, right? For example, you would see that highly competitive PvP games use leaderboard segmentation based on MMR or elo based systems. and then segment power users into their own sort of segments, and then have different reward segments, right? But like I was saying before, being able to do that requires for you to have a very in-depth understanding of your core in-game economy, being able to segment your player base into power users and non-power users, and then being able to make sure that you're able to have different reward systems, right? This requires investment in your backend infrastructure to being able to surface some of those things and execute that. So I would really make sure that I'm doing the basic steps of being able to affect these changes before you sort of like try and jump into it. But absolutely, yes, I have seen the outcomes of this happening across game teams who have been able to do that, and the results are just remarkable.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vivek. And also, thank you for everyone joining today. And very big thank you for our amazing panelists, Erkan, Samar, Vivek, and Adnan, for sharing such a valuable insight. Today, we learned how gamification is growing across all of the industry, how non-gaming apps are using game system to improve engagement, and what new opportunities are coming next few years. I hope today's session is gave all of you a new ideas, clear direction for using gamification in your own products and strategies. Thank you again to our partners SocialPeta, GameFed, Gameramp, Game Resort, Factorial Studio Private Limited, for supporting this event. We will share the recording with everyone who registered. Thank you for your time and have a great day. See you next time in the next session. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you,
Have a
Mehdi, for
nice
great,
weekend.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
great administration, Mehdi. Thank you. I love your style too.
Thank you, Erkan. Thank you.
Best luck from Turkey. Thank you, Adnan.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye
Have
Thank
bye.
a good
you.
day from Pakistan.
Thank you, guys. Have a
Brother,
great one.
brothers,
Cheers.
brother
I
country.
got.
Bye bye.
I
Okay,
have.
bye.
I guess
Adnan just
the
want to say
session.
something.
Yeah, I have a question with Icon that we are in a process of learning gamification. Like when I come to the part, I propose a proposal to the game designer. He thought we have to develop everything. But as you said, and I have worked with some of the person from the Turkey as well and Vietnamese as well. They are also working on the model like they had developed some AI agent in their game that change the game behavior according to the user mode. Am I right? How
Yes,
can being a community, how can we get help from these? Like I want to add these feature in our game as well. But unfortunately, there are some hurdles we are struggling. We are trying to add, but the data and the things are not so mature. So, is there any way or is there any help we can get being in community so that we can try in our studio as well?
of course, of course. I have many friends and students focus on this game AIs, and it's especially doing this on NPC. And please, yeah, Murat is here too. He's one of my students. So Adnan, please reach me on LinkedIn, and we can merge.
Sure.
Try to be help you about that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so much.
sir.
We
And
really
Erkan, please
appreciate
consider me as well as your student.
it.
Yeah,
Yes, we are.
Thank
thank
you
you,
so much.
Mehdi.
Thank you, Adnan.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Vivek.
Maggie.
Thank you, Lina. Thank you, everyone. And
Thank
have a good
you.
day. Hasta la vista.
Oh.
Bye.